the Today Show. Our guest is Pinky the Clown, John Stevens.
I was waiting for it. Come on
Now,
now.
before our break, you were talking about getting back to our roots and kind of getting back to these grounding points and balance. And it really leads me into this piece with you. Act with purpose. Walk me through your act with purpose, your company. This is your baby. You're on your own now doing some stuff. Not many people are jumping saying, "Oh my God, act with purpose." Walk me through this. Why now are you on your own? Why is act with purpose super important?
So I wanted to create a place where people could feel good about where they're spending their money. I think the thing that's hard about actors and any creative type, paying for training, is you want to feel good about where you're spending your money. And so I wanted to create a place that number one was affordable. I never want to be that coach that is so lofty that the normal everyday kind of actor doesn't have access to me.
Mhm.
And so that was something that number one, I wanted to make sure that my price points were very reasonable and I was accessible in every sense of the word. When we talk about accessibility, I want to extend that to also the financial, aspect of it. So that was number one. Number two, in terms of feeling good about where you're spending your money, the thing that really makes Act with Purpose resonate with so many of our students is that we are making monthly donations and creating a
Oh,
real sense of community, depending on what month it is. So, July is quite typically dedicated to Indigenous peoples. So that's where our donations went. For June, which is traditionally LGBTQ2S plus Pride, we donated to local shelters and programs that would help youth, etc. So really trying to find a way to give back to the community that has given so much to me. And The other aspect of it is when I'm coaching actors, the one thing that I try to get them to see and understand is what is the purpose of the scene? Why did the casting director choose that specific scene as the audition piece to find out
mhm.
whether or not an actor could carry this role,
Okay.
right? Also getting them to look at what is the purpose of this scene in the overall storytelling of the movie, right, or film. Getting them to understand that, also getting them to understand the purpose of their character. What does your character lend to the
Mhm.
overall story? Why is your character there? Are they comic relief? Are they there to be suspicious and to point out the flaws and what's happening around them? Are they the one that is there as the romantic interest? Are
Mm.
they the one who is there as the villain to drive that part of the story along? If you don't understand the purpose of your character, then it's going to be really hard for you to understand, what you're doing when you're filming. So that's really the thought process behind Act with Purpose. And I'm really thrilled that so many actors have thought, you know what? Yes, that's the kind of place I want to be involved in. And people have really come over and have enjoyed that sort of positive, non threatening,
Mhm.
um, no bullying, that sort of thing. Just a really positive, free space to create. And
You've mentioned,
so,
sorry to cut you off, you've mentioned a few times the word coaching.
yeah. Mhm.
And a lot of people, when they hear, go see John, for an example, they're going to take a weekend class on how to be an actor, stand in front of the camera, look left, look right, things like this. But you're actually using a terminology of coaching. So it's kind of what I'm hearing is that you're almost breaking down the scenes with an individual to do self tape help and self audition helps, but coach them from getting that anxiousness into the character and helping that explanation where and I've had this conversation, not many people do that. So when you look at coaching an actor, what's the biggest takeaway or push for you? Someone comes in, John, I'm here with Act with Purpose. I love being here. It's positive. It's beautiful. They meet you. I'm going to tell you right now that they're not going anywhere else. What is that one-on-one experience like?
So I think the thing that is important as a coach is to make sure that you're seeing the person wholly. I try to coach very holistically in terms of, I really try to look at the overall person. I look at their
Okay.
speech patterns, their physicality, how they communicate in real life. And then as soon as they start to act, a lot of times people just put on way too much.
Mhm.
And so kind of whittling away and getting back to, well, I just want to drop you into this situation. Because
Okay.
when we were just having a conversation before, you were fully expressive, you were using your facial expressions, you were using your vocal intonation, you were doing so much. And then as soon as we start to act, we all of a sudden go overboard. And now all of a sudden we're in our head voice. And so getting people to fully understand, to just pull back and be real, just be yourself. Unless you're a jerk, then be somebody else, right? But just finding a way to be natural. I find, especially in the Canadian market, Canadian casting directors are not looking for that big, over the top sort of Americanized performance.
Okay.
And so I think that that's one of the reasons why I've been so successful in Canada, is having my experience both in the United States and here, and being so closely connected to the LA market. People do come to me wanting to kind of be able to navigate between the two, because casting for the United States and casting in Canada are wildly different. Even though it's the same animal, I mean, it's the same, process. You can say it's
Right.
driving a car, but driving a car that's automatic and driving a car that's standard are two very different things, right? And so the same thing with casting in the United States and casting in Canada. There are huge differences in what casting is actually looking for. So I think that's another one of the reasons why Act with Purpose has done so well in such a short amount of time.
So you could be this liaison for casting in Canada and US. And I love the passion that you speak with when it comes to Act with Purpose. The biggest difference is, of course, you. I mean, you have beautiful training and staff, and the facility is wonderful. And
Thank
a
you.
lot of people go there for you because of that personal one-on-one and that openness and accepting people as whole. When you talk about accepting people as whole and we talk about casting and you have that edge, is there any future plan for John Stevens or Act with Purpose to be a talent manager, a talent agency where you're training people and representing them for both markets?
It's really difficult. So I've been approached by so many different people for different things in terms of that. Being an agent and being a coach have a lot of conflicts of interest.
Okay.
So it could be, while it could work and it would take a very special relationship and situation, it's not something I'm really gunning for. However, as life would have it, I am starting to break into a little bit more of casting.
Good.
So people are coming to me, especially, obviously, my work with persons with disabilities. So people really kind of not only kind of kept me in mind when it comes to American projects or American/Canadian projects, but they've also really come to me at any point when they've needed any person with a disability, for different types of castings. In fact, I just got one yesterday for a voiceover where they're looking for somebody who is a wheelchair user
Wow.
for a voiceover. So if there's any listeners who happen to be wheelchair users who have really lovely voices and are over the age of 18, reach out because I might have a casting for you. So I'm excited about that side of things. But in terms of, sorry, I kind of lost my track of.
You know what? That's a perfect spot for a break, John. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Awesome.